ready to question everything? Tune in.
It's midnight in Missouri. Turn the lights low. Let the truth glow. Robert and Crew. We vibing with you.
KC stars align. Podcast on, we crossing every line. Tartaria towers, hidden in the mist. Hollywood shadows, what they hid on the list. UFO dancing over Independence Town. JFK whispers, we flip the whole thing round. Crew in the chat, Julie dropping facts. Multiverse theory, we never going back. Beat synchronizing, truth seekers unite, no compromises. Greens glow purple, feel the energy surge. Robert hit the switch, now we on the verge. Robert and Crew, light up the night. Conspiracy crew, we taking flight. Tartaria dreams in the strobe light flash. Drop the bass, heavy, hear the thunder crash. Robert and Crew, vibe so high, paranormal flow to the morning sky. From mystery streets to the cosmic unknown, tune in every week. You ain't alone.
Robert and Crew.
Serial shadows, cryptids in the woods. Project Blue Beam in the neighborhood. Over buildings with
Well, welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your host, Robert.
And I'm your co-host, Crew.
Tonight, we're just going to be chilling out, talking about whatever comes to our minds, Crew.
Pretty much.
We do have to basically talk about the elephant in the room here. I have been trying for the past week to get a collaborator on the podcast, and we have this thing that quite frequently happens, which is fairly annoying, and honestly, it's not fun for us. But once again, our collaborator has backed out.
It happens, but it does get annoying after a while. This is like what, second person,
The third person.
third person. Okay. We've had a few who've come through. We're gonna have a few more who will definitely come through.
Yeah, I worked so hard to get this person on tomorrow, and they were down for it. Talked to him for a week about it, and then due to their own preferences, they said they weren't ready and they backed out.
Well, when they decide to finally be ready and if they still don't want to be on camera, they could always do this.
Yeah.
But, we're not holding it against them. They probably just, aren't ready, which is understandable. It is frustrating for us because we had a whole episode planned out, but we'll get through it.
Yeah. We need to find more people that are willing to come on. So if you're listening to this tonight and you hear this from the beginning of our episode, or you're tuning in on YouTube later on, if you want to be a guest on the Robert and Crew Show, hit us up. The email is kover27@gmail.com. That's kover27@gmail.com. And just as the subject line, put podcast guest, and we'll know what you're talking about. We're going to hit back on the topic of our alien stuff tomorrow night, since we don't have the special guest. I wanted to get into talking about a thing tonight that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently. Do you know what the chronovisor is?
Yes.
So, there was a priest called Father Ernetti who got a whole bunch of scientists together at the Vatican and supposedly created a device that they could see back in time with. One of the most famous things that they claimed that they could see was a photo in live time of the crucifixion of Christ.
Okay.
When it comes to the chronovisor, the Vatican claims that it never existed and that Father Ernetti lied.
Well, I mean, they're probably trying to save their own skin, trying to keep it under the, watchful eyes, and doesn't want people to know the truth about it. Like, for instance, the Vatican supposedly has Lucifer in the basement. They also supposedly have an alien skull in the basement.
I thought it wasn't Lucifer, and I thought it was Cain.
Both.
Okay.
Because they supposedly have Lucifer's throne in the basement.
What's the story behind the Vatican and the archives? What they have tucked into the archives? Like, what are you aware of?
Well, I have a list on it. So give me one moment. I'll see if I can find that list. Okay.
Hey, Julie, how are you tonight? And we'll have you back on soon. And yeah, it does suck that our guest backed out, and we keep having people back out. But like Cruz said, we'll figure this out. We gotta figure out more people to come on. It'll all work out. I'm a little sad about it. I thought it was going to be a good night, but such is life, right? Throws you curveballs.
All right. I think I found it. Okay. There is at least, supposedly, I have 34 items in this, list. You ready for it?
Yeah.
So here's a rundown of things people claimed are in the Vatican Apostolic Archive, none of these are confirmed, but they show up a lot in conspiracy circles, books, and pop culture. So, religious and biblical rumors. Okay, and I did put them in specific categories when I was doing my research. Okay,
Right.
number 1, lost/suppressed gospels. Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Judas, plus dozens of others or of other early Christian texts deemed heretical. Number 2, Jesus missing years docs. Account of Jesus traveling to India, Tibet, or Egypt from age 12 to 30. Okay. Then we have number 3, evidence Jesus survived crucifixion. Claims he lived on and had kids, bloodline records. Number 4, Mary Magdalene material. Proof she was an apostle married to Jesus, or church suppressed her role. Number 5, original Bible manuscripts, pre-Constantine versions that contradict modern scripture. Number 6, Book of Enoch complete version, unedited text with details on Watchers and Nephilim. Number 7, Q source document, the hypothetical shared source for Matthew and Luke. Number 8, True Third Secret of Fatima, full unedited prophecy, allegedly apocalyptic and church related. Now, here's the alien/unexplained phenomena list. There's only 4 on this list. Number 9, you mentioned the chronovisor. That's on the 9th list. Device built by Father Ernetti in the 1950s to view/tape past events like Christ's crucifixion. Number 10, Vatican UFO files. Reports of alien contact, crashes, or Vatican knowledge of extraterrestrials. Number 11, ancient astronaut evidence, artifacts or text proving non-human involvement in early civilizations. Number 12, giant/Nephilim remains, skeletons or proof of biblical giants removed from public record. Now here's the secret history and cover-ups list. There's about 6 on this list. 13, Knights of Templar records, location of their treasure, real reason for suppression, survival of the order. Number 14, true history of the Council of Nicaea. Minutes showing Jesus' divinity was voted on/created.
Which I have the photo of Jesus up right now that apparently the chronovisor took.
All right. Number 15, correspondence with world leaders, secret deals with Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, other dictators. 16, Pius XII, World War II files, full records of Vatican action/inaction during the Holocaust. 17, proof of prior advanced civilizations like Atlantis, Mu, or pre-flood tech records. 18, maps of pre-Ice Age world, like the Piraeus map, but more detailed, showing Antarctica ice-free. Now, here's 5 more under the prophecy and occult part of the list. 19, unreleased Marian apparition secrets from Garabandal, Medjugorje, La Salat, beyond what's public. 20, prophecies of Saint Malachi, full text, unabridged list of popes, ending with Peter the Roman. 21, exorcism archives, thousands of case files, recordings, names of demons, methods that actually work. 22, forbidden occult texts, grimoires, summoning rituals, magic texts confiscated during Inquisition. 23, Spear of Destiny records, location and history of the lance that pierced Christ. Church scandal and power, 5 under this list. List of 39/40 popes who fathered children with names, dates, and bloodlines. 25, banking/financial records, true extent of Vatican wealth, assets, and artifacts, World War II gold. 26. Evidence of pagan roots, docs showing Catholic rituals came directly from Roman/mystery religions. 27. Suppressed science, inventions, free energy, medical cures confiscated to protect power structures. 28. Records on the underground Vatican, 15 plus levels of vaults, nuclear bunkers, private museums. Now, here's the wild card tier. 29. Proof of time travel. Either church has done it or records of others who have. 30. Portals/wormholes. Info on location of gateways like under Vatican itself. 31. Alien agreements. Treaties between Vatican/government and non-human entities. 32. Real Shroud of Turin docs. Proof it's fake or proof it's real plus how it was made. 33. Garden of Eden location. Maps of accounts of its real geographic spots. 34. Ark of the Covenant. Location of or proof the Vatican has it or had it. Now, here's the reality check of this whole situation. The archive is huge, 53 miles of shelves, but it's mostly papal correspondence, church admin records, and diplomatic papers since 1881. Qualified scholars can access pre-1939 material with approval. The secrecy is mostly bureaucracy plus preservation, not Dan Brown stuff. Still, the fact you can't just walk in and browse fuels every one of these rumors. So there you have it. That's the list.
Well, the Vatican is so secretive that even like the stuff that's held underground, only a select few people are allowed to look at it. And when you look at the stuff that is held in the archives, you have to know exactly what you want to see. You have to know exactly where it's at, and you only get like an hour to look at it.
And you can't go and you can't request anything before 1939.
Right. So basically, it's still secretive. Like I don't care what any of them say. It's still a big secret. Like,
and the only ones really who've been in there, who get to see all that shit, is the Pope.
The Pope and like the bishops that surround him.
Yeah.
But even some of those people aren't privy to that stuff.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to exorcism in the Vatican, do you think there's exorcist information in the Vatican archives?
So, yes. Here's why. Okay? If you're going to perform an exorcist, you have to get permission from the Pope, right?
Right.
Himself. Now, they have documents and records of it. And when they do perform that exorcist, they have to document it via recordings and send it to the Vatican. Mainly because it's a Catholic thing, and it's for safety reasons, and it's also for upcoming bishops and the upcoming Pope to see, so they can view it, firsthand of teaching, and plus to have the school, when you're trying to get into something like the Vatican.
Yeah.
Or become like a pope, not pope, but like a religious leader. Like for example, the movie The Rite, right? With oh God, what was that old man's name? You've seen the movie The Rite, right?
Yeah.
that example, like where the guy was in that school or that college like school, and I guess he was getting mentored by that um, pastor or whatever he was called, and
Right.
he was trying to become a pastor himself. And there was another. There's plenty of. If you've seen all the Exorcist type movies, you can
Yeah.
tell everything goes through the Pope in general.
Right. What when we talk about exorcism, for instance, we have Father Amroth here, who claims that he is an exorcist.
Right.
So let's watch this real quick.
Gesù sta fissato il giorno d'andarsene.
Wait a minute. Sorry, guys. Let's see if it's turned all the way up. I can't turn it up any more than this.
Gesù sta fissato il giorno d'andarsene.
No!
Non te l'ha fissato ancora? Non te l'ha fissato?
No!
Ma lui a fissarlo perché tu non conti una cicca. Come non conti una
¡Es la mía! ¡Es la mía!
Ma
¡Es la mía!
è di Cristo! È di Cristo! È di Cristo! È di Cristo! Signore, questa tua figliola, liberala da Satana e dagli altri demoni che la sorvengono.
¡Siamo eserciti!
Te lo chiediamo.
¡Eserciti!
Te lo chiediamo
¡Eserciti!
per intercessione della Vergine Maria.
So that's apparently a recording of Father Amarith actually executing an exorcist or an exorcism. He is an exorcist. So he supposedly has direct connection with the Vatican and goes out on the Pope's wishes, basically wherever he is needed. He goes and he helps people rid themselves of literal demon possession.
Yep. And it's not very fun. Can be very draining. And
Wasn't there a couple cases where people actually died from exorcism?
Bad.
So what do we think is the best proof of actual exorcism and demons taking over somebody's body? Mine would probably be the language barrier. When people start speaking languages that they do not know. Hence, when people go under extreme stress and start speaking perfect Latin.
Yes, that is a major one. And then also the appearance.
Yeah, with the change of the sickly change of the body, and sometimes the faces become distorted.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, even sometimes the demon or entity will show itself through the person's body. Are there any legitimate accounts of demon possession where somebody actually levitated?
It's in the that one movie with Ed and Lorraine, the sequel.
The Conjuring series.
Yes, the sequel. That's a perfect example. And they
Right.
have photo evidence of it.
So with let me look this up real quick. I'm gonna look up the most profound exorcism known to date. The most profound exorcism to date with the most evidence of demonic possession. The Exorcism of Anneliese Michel in Germany of 1975 to 1976. Anneliese Michel was a 23-year-old German woman. She was a university student who experienced severe medical and psychological deterioration that she and her deeply religious family attributed to demonic possession. After years of conventional psychiatric treatment that failed over and over again to alleviate her symptoms, her family turned to the Catholic Church, which eventually authorized a formal Roman Catholic rite of exorcism. The physical evidence. This case is considered the most profoundly documented due to the sheer volume of real-world evidence presented during a subsequent criminal trial. Audio recordings. Priests captured over 42 hours of audio tape during 67 exorcism sessions. The tapes featured Mitchell. I think it's Michelle, but it's spelled Mitchell. Mitchell speaking in deep, heavy, distorted, overlapping voices. She screamed obscenities, claimed to be inhabited by multiple historical entities, including Lucifer, Nero, and Judas, and growled animalistically. Photographic evidence. Police and forensic investigators compiled photographs of her severe physical decline. The images documented localized self-inflicted wounds, structural destruction in her room, and extreme emargination. The court records following her death from malnutrition and dehydration in July of 1976. Her parents and the two priests were charged with negligent homicide. The detailed records of the 1978 trial outlined the historical reviews by the Washington Post, provided a literal day-by-day analysis of the events from both medical and spiritual perspectives. And then, so that's the first one. And then the second one would be the exorcism of Roland Doe in the United States in 1949. For those looking for historical cases featuring a documented physical anomalies and poltergeist activities such as levitation, the exorcism of Roland Doe is the one to look at. The pseudonym given to Ronald Edwin Hunkler is widely viewed as the most thoroughly recorded in U.S. history. This case directly inspired William Peter Blady's novel, The Exorcist. The documented evidence. The priest daily diary. The primary evidence in this case is a highly detailed 29-page daily log kept by the attending Jesuit priest, Father Raymond J. Bishop. Witness testimony. More than 9 primary witnesses, including Jesuit priests, Alexian Brothers hospital staff, and family members, signed off on the occurrences noted in the log. The reported phenomena. The diary logs anomalies such as words and geometric shapes physically scratching themselves onto the boy's skin without human touch, unexplained levitations of objects, and the child speaking fluent Latin phrases despite never learning the language. Detailed overviews of historical documentation can be accessed on Roland Doe's exorcism entry in the Vatican Archives and Wikipedia page. Comparison of the top documented cases. Case name. The Anneliese Michel case in 1976 was 42 plus hours of audio tape, medical records, and trial transcripts. Roland Doe had a 29-page Jesuit diary and multiple medical witness logs. And Anna Eklund published theological booklets, secret church manuscripts. Noteworthy documented phenomenon in the Annalise Michel case was multiple distinct voices came out of Annalise, supernatural aversion to sacramental speaking in unknown dialects, levitation of Annalise. In Roland Doe, the spontaneous skin scratching of geometric shapes and patterns, objects moving independently, and violent bed shaking. In the case of Anna Eklund, unprecedented physical strength, physical levitation of Anna, and speaking foreign tongues. The final outcome in the Annalisa Michel case, it ended in her tragic death. The parents and priests were legally convicted of negligence. In Roland Doe, the successful right of the subject recovered and later worked as a NASA scientist. Dude, he turned into a NASA scientist after he got out of his exorcism. And then Anna Eklund was successful. She had a successful recovery after a decade of clinical possession episodes. Medical experts, psychologists, and legal investigators maintain that evidence of demonic possession in these historical cases is highly indicative of severe misidentified medical conditions, although nobody can explain the levitation or poltergeist activity. In the reviews of Annalise Michel Michel, I'm going to say, case attributed her behavior to temporal lobe epilepsy, schizophrenia, and severe religious isolation, although skeptics also cannot explain the levitation. They also concluded that Roland Doe case was heavily exacerbated by a combination of severe mental illness, Tourette's syndrome, and religious hysteria. Once again, they cannot explain the levitation or poltergeist activity.
I want to add something because I saw Joey's
So
comment.
basically, all of these people are just mentally unstable, but things in their house or themselves float around, or they can speak fluent Latin. And the skeptics are just like, no, no, no. They're just fucking schizophrenic. That's all it is.
Well, I want to add something because I saw Julie's comment. And yes and no, Julie. It's both fictional and based on a true story. So yes, you can bring up the Exorcist movie, but no, there's realness to it, but the movie was
The
fiction.
movie was a work of fiction.
But it was loosely based off a true story.
Yeah, it had what they believed to be true demonic possession when it came to like portraying it. They
Well,
wanted the viewer to believe that this is what happens during an exorcism, which they took parts of Annalise's case and
no,
Roland Doe's case, right?
no, the true story part, which I'm about to read. William Peter Blatley, based on his 1971 novel on a 1949 exorcism case in Maryland. The real case involved a boy phenomenally called Roland Doe,
Yeah, Roland Doe. Boom.
Robbie Manham, aged 13 through 14. Jesuit priest from Georgetown performed a series of exorcisms over several months. There, there were reports of scratching noises, furniture moving, and words appearing on his skin. Blatley was a Georgetown student when he heard about it and got details from one of the priests involved. The fiction part. Blatley changed a lot for the book and movie. Gender/age, real boy 14, movie girl Regan, age 12. Location Maryland, Georgetown, and DC. Events. The movie's head spinning, crab walk, pea soup vomit, and most of the dialogue were invented for horror effect. Deaths, nobody died in the real exorcism. The priest in the film died. The real priest lived. Timeline, real case took months with multiple exorcisms. Movie compresses it. So the verdict, the concept of an real exorcism by Catholic priest is based on a real 1949 case, but the Exorcist movie is dramatized, fictional horror story. about 90% Hollywood, 10% inspired by real case knowledge. The Catholic Church does perform real exorcisms today, and the 1949 case documented in the records, but Regan McNeil and Father Careth are fictional characters. So yes and no on the real/fiction. The characters in the movie, fictional, but it was based off Roland Doe story, which I wish they would not have changed, the character from being a boy to a girl.
One of the most famous exorcisms in the United States was conducted in 1949 in St. Louis, Missouri. An exorcism was performed on a 14-year-old boy named Roland Doe, who had been experiencing strange phenomena such as levitating and speaking in tongues. After a month of intense exorcism rituals, the boy was believed to be cured of the demonic possession. The exorcism was conducted by a Catholic priest named Father William Bowder, who was assisted by 2 other priests and a doctor. The exorcism was documented by a reporter from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and the story gained a lot of attention from the public. The story was later made into a movie called The Exorcist, and this is...
So like I thought, The Exorcist was highly based on what happened to Roland Doe.
Yeah, it was just not on the girl.
Yeah,
that you were thinking of, but
that was Annalisa Michelle.
Yeah. Now, let's see. Let me see if they did make a movie about her. Yeah, oh, they did. They did make a movie based off her. Okay. So there are a few movies based on her case. Okay.
Okay.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005. This is the main one people know.
That movie is scary as shit.
It's a fictionalized version of Annaliese's story based on Anneliese Michel, a German woman who died in 1976 after 67 exorcism rites. Changes. Movie to the U.S. renamed Emily Rose, courtroom drama, framing device. Cast. Jennifer Carpenter as Emily, Laura Linney plus Tom Wilkinson. Live half horror, half legal thriller about whether the priest was negligent.
Negligent.
Number 2, Requiem, 2006. German film, much more accurate to the real evidence. Title in German, Requiem, focuses on Annalie's mental illness versus possession, less supernatural.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
You can keep reading.
Style, gritty drama, not jump scare horror. Won awards. Sandra Hüller won Best Actress at Berlin Film Festival for playing her. The real story, Annalise Michel was 23 years old, German woman who suffered from epilepsy and psychiatric issues. Starting in 1968, her devout Catholic family became convinced she was possessed after she saw demonic faces, heard voices, and rejected religious objects. 2 priests performed 67 exorcisms over 10 months. In 1975 to 1976, she died of malnutrition, dehydrations, July 1st, 1976, weighing 68 pounds. Her parents and the 2 priests were convicted of negligent homicide. Case sparked huge debate in Germany about exorcism and mental health. So, Emily Rose equals Hollywood horror loosely based on her. Requiem equals straight drama, very close to facts. There you go.
So when it comes to the exorcism of Annalise Michel, I actually have this right here pulled up already because this is very interesting, but this is some of the audio.
These recordings are perhaps the most disturbing pieces of audio I've ever heard.
Ich hab recht dazu, dass ich in dem Wald rein bin. Ich trag dir die Rotznase noch so lang, bis es lebt wird. Die saublöde Weib. Für uns geht's kein Tode. Nee! In alle Ewigkeit!
You know, she's screaming. She's giving it 110%.
I mean, do you think that sounds like it came out of a girl? Like,
Yes, it sounds like a girl doing a funny voice.
your unrelenting skepticism is exhausting. It drains me of all happiness and energy, and I hope you know that.
Wer ich, der Judas, und der Nero, der Kain und der Hitler. Fünf sind wir. Oh, den haben wir gelogen.
That's we're all here. I ran out of evil people to think of. The blonde man from Die Hard is also in here. Skeletor from Masters of the Universe. Heath Ledger's Joker. Jack Nicholson. He was too cartoonish. You had your fun,
Yeah, I've had my fun.
Okay. These recordings are perhaps the most disturbing.
So those little clips, besides the guy making fun of it, when you actually listen to those clips, they're fucking chilling because that's a little girl.
Right.
That's a little girl, and that doesn't sound like a little girl. That sounds like a freaking old lady with having a demonic episode.
Right.
Ooh, the Annalise Michelle case is some creepy audio. So what else do you think the Vatican is hiding in those archives?
Okay. So there's a throne, right? Watching over this casket like thing, right? With chains over it. And it said there used to be somebody who used to sit in that throne watching over Cain.
Right, and the throne would have been what, an ex-pope or an ex-bishop who would have been watching over Cain.
Like a fallen angel.
Then why is the fallen angel still there?
No.
And how do we speculate this? Like how do we know this?
So it's alleged, right? You'll have to pull up the video on TikTok about it, but that was one of the videos that I found a while back, and I sent it to you before.
It's all right. I'll see if I can't find it on YouTube.
But it's basically it's a legend story, rumor that was probably heard about before. Who knows? Probably got misinterpreted. Probably got changed up after being told so many times. But either way, it's a pretty interesting story.
The coffin, by the way, is Lucifer. It's not Cain.
Okay, so I got that part wrong. My bad. Yeah. Okay. I meant to say Lucifer. My bad. I forgot. No, Cain was not that coffin. It was Lucifer's coffin. But it kind of reminds me of the show Supernatural, right?
Right.
Where basically Lucifer has a cage in hell in the show Supernatural. So it's kind of like based off this.
Right.
The Vatican has held Cain prisoner for centuries. The Vatican would have kept a disturbing truth secret. Cain, the first murderer of humanity, is still alive and locked in the depths of his crypts. According to leaked documents, his immortality is not a gift, but a curse imposed by God, condemning him to wander the earth eternally. However, the church managed to capture him centuries ago and keep him in a sealed prison away from the world's knowledge. Records hidden within the Vatican archives describe a being with human appearance, but with dark eyes and skin that never ages. Cain is said to possess forbidden wisdom, knowledge about the origin of humanity, and the enigma of immortality. Priests and exorcists have attempted to communicate with him, but those who have seen him up close have disappeared or lost their sanity. Why does the church keep him captive instead of putting an end to him?
So that's interesting. How did that rumor start, do you think?
Well, with Cain getting the mark, right?
Right.
And covering the earth for a very long time. Allegedly. We don't know if he's still around. Okay. We don't really know the whole full extent what the mark does. Only what we can speculate what the Bible says. Right? The fact that they're saying that Cain could possibly be in the Vatican in a cage, locked up from the world, has been an interesting. Who knows if it's real? Who knows if it's fake? Story. But I don't know the origins of how it started. All I know is it's been talked about as what the Vatican's hiding.
Right.
Which the Vatican apparently hides a lot, which we don't know a lot what the Vatican has because they won't tell us. Only what they show us.
Right, and of course, when you type into Google, by the way, does the Vatican have Cain locked up in there? The only stuff that they pull up is stuff about Michael Caine. They don't pull up anything about Cain being locked up in the Vatican, which is obvious. Because why would they?
I'm about to ask the question, see if I can get an answer. How did the story about Cain the Bible Okay, let's see if I can get an answer. So here's what it says, okay?
Yeah.
The story isn't in the Bible at all, which I already know. It's a modern internet / conspiracy theory mashup, not ancient tradition. Here's where it came from. Number one, vampire fiction, not scripture. The Cain captured by the Vatican plot comes from Vampire Masquerade, a tabletop RPG from 1991. In that lore, the biblical Cain is the first vampire cursed by God. Different vampire clans claim the Vatican has him chained in the basement as a super weapon or holy relic. Gamers ran with it online, and non-gamers saw it and repeated it without RPG context. 2. Mixed up with other Vatican prisoner legends. The Vatican does have a history of imprisoning people. People conflate that with biblical figures. Giordano Bruno burned in 1600, held in Vatican prisons first. Galileo, under house arrest by the Inquisition. Knights Templar leaders, jailed by Pope Clement V in 1307. Over time, the Vatican keeps dangerous people locked up. Idea morphed into they've got biblical people locked up. 3. Nephilim / Giants conspiracy crossover. There's a long-running rumor that the Vatican archives hide bodies of biblical giants / Nephilim from Genesis 6. Cain killed Abel, so some fringe theories lump him in as first murderer equals first monster, and claim the church hid him to YouTube/TikTok videos from 2010s pushed this hard. 4. The Da Vinci Code effect. After Dan Brown's 2003 book, Secret Vatican Vault, with earth-shattering biblical cover-up, became a trope. Cain is an easy character to drop into the template because Genesis 4 says God marked him and he wandered, but never says he died. Conspiracy logic. If the Bible doesn't record his death, maybe he's still alive somewhere. What the Bible actually says about Cain. Genesis 4:15 through 16. God put a mark on Cain so nobody would kill him, and Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Then he had kids, built a city. No mention of capture, immorality, or the Vatican. The Vatican didn't exist for another 4,000 years. So, short version, it's not ancient church legend. It started in 1990s vampire games, got mixed up with real Vatican prison history, Nephilim conspiracies, then spread online as clickbait. There's zero historical or theological basis for it.
Yeah, so basically it's just stating that it's all fiction and some crazy story that some people put together for clickbait on videos like YouTube and TikTok, things like that.
All because of that one video game.
It's interesting. It really is. And then we also have this right here. Let me check. So, angels or aliens? Some researchers say the Vatican archives hold UFO secrets. A group of scientists and researchers are seeking access to the Vatican Apostolic archives to uncover information about UFOs and the paranormal, believing there may be traces amid 50 miles of shelves holding everything from handwritten papal notes to presidential missives. The decade-long effort gained momentum in 2023 following the U.S. intelligence official David Goresh's congressional testimony alleging that the Vatican's involvement in an international cover-up of alien secrets. Goresh claimed the Pope plus XII back-channeled information to the United States about a crashed UFO recovered by a fascist dictator, Benito Mussolini. I don't know where Goresh got the information, Marco Grilli said, secretary to the Perfect of the Archives told Catholic News Service June 11th. Grilli said the archives have received emails inquiring about the veracity of Goresh's claims, but likened them to requests to read personal letters of Pontius Pilate or the Virgin Mary. One can laugh at it, he said. However, findings like those reported in Diana Walsh's Pasulka's 2019 book, American Cosmic, suggests that UFO believers that the archives hold more than meets the eye. Pasulka, a religious studies professor at the University of North Carolina in Wilmington, said the archives are full of reports of paranormal events such as nuns witnessing orbs entering their cells, flying houses, and other aerial phenomena. She argues that these events might be better understood as UFO-type occurrences rather than miracles as Catholics traditionally understand them. The historical record is filled with these kinds of events, she told CNS May 30th. The people at the Vatican, they don't even know where to look. It's in their basements. The Vatican archivists are in a mad rush to digitalize whatever they have. They have to prioritize what they think is most important, she explained. They aren't really prioritizing orbs that are bothering nuns in the 1800s. The interest in the Vatican's holdings extend beyond the realm of scholars, religions, scientists like Gary Nolan, a professor of medicine at Stanford University, view the Vatican archives as a potential treasure trove for the understanding of UFOs. The Vatican is probably the oldest library system of paranormal or supernatural knowledge that's still extant, Nolan said. The archive has an aura of both mysticism and the feeling of deep truth that if you just know how to read it, you can pull the information out. Nolan believes that if an advanced species is showing up on Earth, it means it might be possible for humans to survive threats like climate change and the energy crisis and war. The very fact that we think we see something, to me, is hope, Nolan said of the UFO sightings. It says something has made it past the cliff, past the decision point that we feel that we're on the edge of right now. Nolan co-founded the Soul Foundation in 2023 to spearhead scientific research into UFOs, now called UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena, and to initiate dialogue with religious institutions like the Vatican about spiritual implications of discovering alien life. The Foundation is confident that at least some of the UFOs are genuine vehicles of non-human origin. Consequently, one of its primary objectives has been to initiate an interfaith dialogue to assess the potential impact on world religions. Because the Vatican facilitates interfaith dialogue and engages religious pluralism, it's always been in our mind that it's an entity we want to engage, Peter Skafish, the Foundation's director, told CNS. Interest among non-Catholic researchers in uncovering paranormal secrets in the Vatican has spanned decades and has roots at a culturally influential retreat center in California. Father Francis Tiso, an expert on interreligious dialogue, said that he discussed a plan to conduct paranormal research in the Vatican archives with the founder of the Esalen Institute of over 20 years ago. Esalen is a retreat center in California known for its progressive and counterculture influence, particularly during the 1960s and 70s. It continues to play a significant role in the United States by attracting Silicon Valley technologists, spiritual leaders, and innovators to explore new ideas in psychology, spirituality, and personal growth. Father Tsu said that Michael Murphy, Esalen's co-founder, told him that someone should go to the Vatican archives, do research, examine the documentation, and try to classify it in ways that would be accessible to the scientific community. Studying miracles attributed to the intercession of saints as possible paranormal activity, Father Tso said, could help build another bridge in the direction of paranormal phenomena connected with the idea of the UFO narrative, that somehow we human beings are in some way in contact with other civilizations, other conscious beings in the universe. Jeffrey Kripal, a member of the board at Esalen and professor of religion at Rice University in Houston, said the stories of Catholic miracles are of interest to UFO researchers because telepathic communication, levitation, and other paranormal events often coincide with close encounters. The whole gamut religious phenomena appears in the abduction or the encounter experience, Kripal said. Carlos Eire, a professor of history at Yale University, has studied this type of miracles and captive researchers like Pasolka and Nolan. He published his findings in a 2023 book, They Flew, A History of the Impossible. Levitations, UFOs, miracles are all on the spectrum of, let's call it, the impossible things that are considered impossible or highly unlikely, he said. The Vatican archives have a high value for paranormal researchers, he said, especially because since the Renaissance, the Church has applied more rigor to alleged miracles by requiring witnesses to swear oaths that they are not lying. While the staff at the Vatican archives acknowledge that their vast shelves contain accounts of miracles, they deny that any of their holdings pertain to aliens. The Perfect wants to affirm that there is no document in the archives that regards extraterrestrial life, and scholars seeking such material at the Vatican should be dissuaded from undertaking futile and unproductive attempts in this apostolic archive, Grilly said. So basically, the Vatican is saying over and over again they have no information on UFOs or UFO technology.
I want to comment on what Julie said, and I did a little digging, right?
Yes.
Okay, so your person said that they believe they're demons. Well, here's the thing. Others also consider them fallen angels, right? But demons aren't technically one who control the ships. Now, here's what I know. Okay. So it depends on who you ask. Traditionally, they're not related, not identical, right? With fallen angels and demons. Fallen angels equal the original rebels. These are angels who fell with Lucifer / Satan during the war in heaven. Revelations 12:4-9 mentions a third of the stars swept down by the dragon. Isaiah 14 plus Ezekiel 28 are used as references to. They kept their angelic nature but are now in rebellion. Think high-ranking, intelligent, organized. Satan himself is a fallen angel, not a demon per se. Demons equal usually the foot soldiers / spirits. Two main theories here. Demons equal fallen angels. Simplest view. All fallen angels are not called demons. Lots of denominations just use the terms or interchangeably. Demons equal something else. Book of Enoch plus early church fathers like Justin Martyr argued this. Theories goes, when the Nephilim died in the flood, their spirits had no place in heaven or hell, so they became unclean spirits, or demons that roam earth. In this view, fallen angels are the generals, demons are the disembodied spirits of Nephilim. What the Bible actually calls them, fallen angels. 2 Peter 2:4, Jude 1:6. Angels who did not keep their positions are now bound. Demons / unclean spirits, what Jesus casts out in the Gospels. Greek word is daimonian. They possess people, cause illness, beg not to be sent to the abyss. Other traditions. Judaism talks about Shadim and Mezakim, harmful spirits, but fallen angels concept is less central. Book of Enoch story is there, but not canon. Islam. Shayatin, or jinn, who follow Iblis. Iblis was a jinn, not an angel, who refused to bow to Adam, so different cosmology. Pop culture usually matches them together. Demon equals any bad supernatural being. Simple way to think of that. If you use the Book of Enoch model, fallen angels equals the fathers, demons equals the ghost kids of the Nephilim. If you use the basic Protestant / Catholic model, demon equals another word for fallen angel. The Catholic Church's official exorcism site treats them as basically the same category, fallen spiritual beings opposed to God. So no, they're not demons flying the spaceships. They would be fallen angels.
Well, there are a lot of people recently that have adopted the idea that aliens are demons, but I don't even believe that. I don't honestly believe that.
I don't believe it either. Here's the thing, okay? Demons only can possess or be invisible and act like poltergeists. Fallen angels are kind of like the Anunnaki.
Right. Well, I think we've had a pretty interesting conversation tonight about the Vatican and the archives and how certain things may tie into what they're hiding, such as the Cain thing that apparently came from a video game, and then the alien connection, which the Vatican says they have no alien connection and that there's no such thing as aliens. Obviously, the Vatican wouldn't want to say anything about that. And then the chronovisor, the said time manipulation technology that they were able to use because of Father Ernetti, that got scientists together to create this, I guess you would call it a time viewer, because it's not really a time machine because you can't travel with it. But he took pictures of supposedly the crucifixion of Christ and other really big name things that happened. Then we got involved with exorcism a little bit, and exorcism is very crazy because, you know, we hear all the time, getting kind of back on the demonic context of this, those would be the demons that control you or enter into your body.
Yep.
So the Vatican's got a lot of secrets, and I'm sure we'll delve deeper into this in another episode. But I think tonight's episode was pretty good. I thought I'd talk about the Vatican because it's been on my mind lately. The chronovisor is one of my favorite subjects. I absolutely love it. But thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. We had a lot of fun. We're going to drop the alien episode tomorrow. And other than that, we're going to hopefully find somebody to collaborate with because, like I said, the person we had backed out last second because they didn't feel comfortable. So if you know anybody or you yourself wants to come on and be a part of the show, then send an email to kover27@gmail.com, put in the subject podcast guest, and we will know immediately what you're talking about. With that being said,
we're going to collaborate with you.
What?
Spiral raised up his hand.
The cat. So we're going to collaborate with the cat next time. But anyways, crew, as always, before we get out of here, what is this?
This is the Robert and Crew Show Venmo link, where if you'd like to, not I have to, donate so that way we can get stuff for the podcast or so we can get travel costs for the podcast. Anything and everything for this Venmo link is only for the podcast.
All right, so guys, with that being said, tune in tomorrow around let's say 11:30 p.m., possibly sooner. We'll let you know on the Facebook page if we decide to go live sooner. But 11:30 to 12, we should be on with the new portion of the Alien series and the Alien Files. So much love from the Robert and Crew Show. Peace out.
Blue beam in the neighborhood, over buildings with the impossible craft. We question everything, never looking back. Echoing crazy theories overload. Rabbit hole deep, but we paved the road. One more story about the lights in the sky. Robert and Crew keep the real road alive.